Greetings, everybody. Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to a brand new show here on the Sea of Tranquility channel. As I mentioned in my Celeste CD review that you hopefully just saw, this particular show has been inspired by some of the polls that I've been doing over on our Facebook page. So if you haven't gone to our Facebook page to participate in some of our polls, you really should. They're a lot of fun. Seeing a lot of good commentary there, a lot of good battles going on between albums and musicians and all that sort of thing. But anyway, this particular show is basically strongly influenced by the most recent poll that I'm doing there now, which is classic album battles. Now, this particular week we're doing classic prog, old and new album battles. But I think what I'm going to start doing here on the channel is just classic, and I'm going to call it Classic Album War. All right? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick out two outstanding releases from either more classic bands from the 70s or 80s, or even some newer classics by newer bands in more recent times. Going to try and keep it to the same genre, so to speak. And we're going to see, and we're going to look at each one of them, go a little in depth on them, and I'm going to give you my opinion on which album in particular I like better. Okay, now remember, this is my opinion. Yours may differ. We all have different sets of ears. No one's right or wrong here, so if I pick an album over another and you strongly object, don't try and change my mind, right? Just say, hey, you know what? I appreciate and respect your opinion. I feel otherwise. Here's why. If you want to do that, that's fine. But just remember, in a lot of instances, the albums that I'm going to put against each other in the war, I like both quite a bit. So it's in some cases going to be kind of hard for me to choose, but that's the point of this whole show, for me to choose. So we're going to start with prog rock today. We're going to go back to the early 70s. So these two bands, landmark bands. One band was pretty much a prog band from start to finish. The other kind of dabbled in prog quite a bit, but they're also kind of a bluesy band, a folky band, did a little bit of everything. So we're talking about Jethro Tull's Thick As a Brick, okay, from 1972, their fifth studio album. And then we've got Emerson, Lake and Palmer, or ELP's Brain Salad Surgery. This is their fourth studio release from 1973. So released almost at the same time. I think she likes ELP better, my dog over there. Anyway, so one is one of the more premier concept album releases from that decade. All right, so basically what you had here, we're going to go back to LP days. So you had two sides of vinyl, basically one long song broken up between the two sides of vinyl. All right, basically a theme, Gerald Bostock and all that kind of stuff. A theme that carries over the entire album. All right, so if you look at the CD breakdowns of the tracks, you got Thick As a Brick. First movement, 22 minutes and change. Thick As a Brick, second movement, 21 minutes and change, right? Doesn't get much better than that. Whereas on Brain Salad Surgery, more of a collection of songs. However, you have the whole Carnival 9 lengthy suite or movement. So you've got here Jerusalem, Toccata, Still You Turn Me On, Benny the Bouncer, and then Carnival 9 First Impression Part 1, Carnival 9 First Impression Part 2, Carnival 9 Second Impression, and Carnival 9 Third Impression. So that whole Carnival 9 lengthy suite is, I forget exactly how long it is, 20, 25 minutes, something like that. It's pretty lengthy. So both albums kind of different sounding, right? Here you got Jethro Tull, who dabbled in prog rock on Aqualung, but it wasn't really till this album that came to the fore. Hammond organs and Moogs and electric and acoustic guitars and flutes, a lot of really kind of aggressive, violent passages, as well as some real folky passages, little bits of jazz and classical. Ian Anderson always liked to kind of interject lots of different musical elements. Where here you've got some folk on here, right? You've got some classically inspired rock music. Okay, you got Toccata, and you've got the whole Carnival 9 impression, complex time signatures, blazing Moog synthesizers and Hammond organ and piano, Keith Emerson, ever the virtuoso, adding all sorts of textures and really, really coming into his own on this album, I think. But then you've got the gymnastic drums of Carl Palmer and the excellent bass and acoustic and electric guitar and, of course, vocals from Greg Lake. Greg Lake shines here on Still You Turn Me On. What a great vocal piece that is. Sounds great on Jerusalem as well. But, this album, for me, is a showcase for Keith Emerson. This is bombastic and virtuoso, but really catchy. All the songs on here are very, very memorable. Whereas here, it's not a collection of songs, right? This is like an epic movement, but just as bombastic, just as fiery. Okay, a great album for Martin Barre. His guitar work. Okay, got John Evans on here with his very amazing keyboard work, and of course, you know, Ian Anderson, the whole crew on here. Just what a just amazing album. Let's see, why don't we open this up for you here? Take a look. All right, so you know, if you remember, and again, this is one of the various reissues of this album, but set up kind of like a newspaper. And a really kick-ass album. So which one do I prefer and why? Well, they're both excellent, right? For a lot of different reasons. I know some of you are probably saying, oh, you know, you should have paired Tarkus up against Thick As a Brick, or you should have paired Brain Salad Surgery up against, you know, Aqualung or whatever. These were random choices. I didn't give a lot of thought to this, and it was not looking for a perfect match. That's what makes this a little bit more interesting, because these albums are a little bit different, okay? But there's an epicness to both of them that kind of makes it a good choice to bring the two of them together here for this war. As far as like keyboard playing, obviously this gets my vote, right? For like awesome guitar work, not a lot of it on here. This gets my vote. Vocal-wise, they're both, Ian and Greg, both totally different singers. Okay, Greg is the better singer by far, but Ian has that really kind of unique style. What I really like about this album are all the different textures, all the different instrumentation used. I find this album, top to bottom, pretty damn spectacular. Not that this isn't, all right? But for me, Benny the Bouncer, can take or leave that song. The rest of it's killer. Whereas here, this is just one of the ultimate concept albums of the 1970s. And a real triumph for this band. I know some people, because it's so epic and it's so lengthy, that may shift people to this one. And quite frankly, that's got the better cover art too. But I'm going to give a slight edge here to Thick As a Brick. All right? Just because this is just so potent from start to finish. And I love all the different layers on here. And while I love 90% of this, I love 100% of this. Okay, whether you listen to the whole thing through, or whether you know when they would play it live, and on their great live album they play like a 10-minute chunk of it, which is great too. I just, you know, and the acoustic guitar intro, and it's just awesome stuff. Tala agrees. She's a Jethro Tull fan. You see that? She's saying, "Daddy, we get it already." Jethro Tull wins. All right. So Jethro Tull versus Brain Salad Surgery. Today's victor, Jethro Tull Thick As a Brick. You've heard it here first. Again, if you don't agree, that's fine. They're both great, folks. All right. But I lean towards this one. If you lean towards this one, that's cool. Tell me why. Visit us on the web at www.seatranquility.org. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're here on the mighty YouTube often. We're going to do a lot of these, all right? So get used to it. So we're still going to do a lot of top 10 songs and all the other stuff, but these are quick and these are fun. And again, if you haven't liked our Facebook page, you're missing out, because we do these battles every day. So you can go and you can vote and you can chime in your comments and see who wins among all of our readers and viewers, right? And we've seen some really nice battles over the last bunch of weeks on a lot of these. In fact, if you go today, there's a really cool one today between Pink Floyd and Yes. And you can vote on, these were yesterday, so you can still go and vote on these. So if you're just seeing this video today or this week, you can still go on the Facebook page and vote. All right, they're only live for about 6 days. So get on there and vote. Lots of good ones coming up. We're going to do prog, we're going to do jazz fusion, we're going to do metal, we're going to do hard rock, we're going to do classic rock, all sorts of stuff. So get ready for a lot of these. I hope you like them, all right? So till then, we'll see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.